Good morning, dear students. Let's start this second session of chapter 8, that is India, geographical features. In the last session, we have discussed, I have explained you about the location and extent. Then I explained you about the meaning of Indian subcontinent. Then we have seen the political divisions of India, the state and union territories and their capitals. And then I explained you about the one division, the physiographic division of India, that is about the Himalayas. So today let's start the second division, and that is northern plain. Now this northern plain, it can again be divided into four divisions. Now what are they? The first one is the Thar Desert. Second one is the Indus Punjab Haryana plain. So this plain which has been drained by river Indus and its tributaries, and it drains the region of Punjab and Haryana, known as Indus Punjab Haryana plain. The third is the fertile plain of the river Ganga. And the fourth one is the Brahmaputra plain. So let me describe you these four types of plain. The first one is the Thar Desert. Now the Thar Desert is a plain region. It is a sandy desert located in the northwest part of India. And this plain is also known as the Great Indian Desert, or it is also called Marusthali. Marusthal is a Hindi word, but usually this word is used. And the name of this desert, the Great Indian Desert, is Thar Desert. Now here, the western part of this desert is covered by the shifting dunes, the shifting sand dunes. All of you may have seen in some pictures and the videos about the sand dunes. They are the mount of the sands found in the desert region known as sand dunes. Now these sand dunes, they continuously shift their place. Now what happened? As the wind blows, it carries the sand and it just transport it to the another place. So this is why these sand dunes are not permanent. Continuously they change their position, the location. Well, so these are known as Dhirian, Dhrian. So we always call it Dhirian or Dharian. So I told you, when you just watch the video, always open the book, and this is how it will be easier for you. So you can just open that book, right, that where it is written there, the Thar Desert. Now let's see here. So this the desert region, usually this lies in the western side of the Aravalli range, right? From the Aravalli, it is actually located to the western side. So this in the eastern side of the Aravalli desert, Aravalli hills, the region is semi-arid. But western side, this is pure arid. Now what is the meaning or difference between the arid and semi-arid? Arid means pure desert, which is totally very dry, receives very scanty rainfall, and usually the vegetation also, the pure desert vegetation is found there. Semi-arid means the region which receives slightly more than the desert. So these areas receive slightly more, means about 50 centimeter, or maybe sometimes even more than 50 up to 75 centimeter rainfall. So between 50 to 75 centimeter rainfall. Now that is much bigger than the less than 25. So in this region, semi-arid region, that's why you can, some more vegetation can be seen, like the grasses, tall grasses, the dry bushes. We also call them dry vegetation. So many bushes and the stunted trees, means short high trees are called stunted trees, like acacia. Acacia means babool. You must be knowing about babool. So it is also called acacia. So these trees are very, very common in these semi-arid region. While in the arid region you will find only cactus, and in some oasis, with the place where the water inside the ground, maybe some underground reserve usually is found. There you can find the palm trees usually grown in those areas as well. Now next is, there is one very important river actually flows to this region, and this is called River Luni. It is a very, very important river, and which flows southward to the Rann of Kutch. Rann of Kutch usually is the region in the Gujarat, right? The upper part of Gujarat, connected to this desert region. So usually, because why it is called Rann of Kutch? Because it is a salty desert. Large amount of salt is found in this, and usually we call it Rann of Kutch. Okay. Now next is now here in Jodhpur, there is a situated one Central Arid Zone Research Institute. Now this research institute totally, it is focused for the research work which has been carried, especially for the technology of remote sensing, right? Remote sensing actually is one branch of science in which the satellites are being used to take pictures and to just collect the data, and by which the research work has been carried, or those areas usually has been studied. Well, so here in the Central Arid Zone Research Institute, here is one remote sensing agency it is established here, and the most important the work of this institute is to study the extension of desert region, right? So this is about the Thar desert, right? This explanation which is given in your book. Now let's move to the next one, that is Indus Punjab Haryana plain. So River Indus is a very, very important river. In fact, you must be knowing about River Indus with the Indus Valley civilization. So from in the very, very ancient time, you must be knowing that how the people from Mesopotamia usually is the oldest civilization. It is also called the cradle of human race. From there the people, they just scattered all over the world. So the people also, they just migrated to the east, and they reached to the Indus River, and they found this a very, very fertile place. And what happened, they have constructed the houses, and the whole civilization was developed here, and this civilization was known as the River Indus civilization. Well, I'm not teaching you the history. So here, let's see here about the Punjab, Indus Punjab Haryana plain. So from very ancient time, this whole region was a very fertile patch of land. In fact, the River Indus is the major river, and it has 5 major tributaries. Now what are they? They are the important river are the River Satluj, River Beas, then there is a River Ravi, and River Chenab, and River Jhelum. Now these 5 rivers, they drains this whole region of Punjab. And when we talk about Punjab, usually 2/3 part of Punjab usually lies in Pakistan. So in India, only 1/3 of Punjab usually is located. So this is a big region. What is the meaning of Punjab? The land which is being drained by 5 rivers, right? So Pan means 5 and Jab, that is means Ab, that is one fertile land between the 2 rivers. So there are the 5 fertile patches of land which is found between these 6 rivers, Indus and 5 tributaries of these rivers. Okay, so that's why this land is known as Punjab. Okay, now why this region actually, as I already explained you, that major part of this Punjab plain lies in Pakistan, and the Punjab plain which lies in India is only 1/3. So this whole fertile patch of land which is found in India, that is we also call Punjab. So this is land. Okay, so this is the second division. It is also known as Indus Punjab Haryana plain, because this plain it spreads up to Haryana, both 2 states. Now next is the deltaic plain or Ganga plain. So in your book it is given deltaic plain, right? But usually you can see here Ganga plain. So now we are going to see river Ganga. All of you know is a very major river of India, and it has several tributaries draining water in Ganga river, and this river Ganga is just carry the whole water of all these rivers, and it drains where? In Bay of Bengal. And in fact, when you see about the river Ganga, what happened when it enters in Bangladesh, from there, before entering the Bangladesh, it just divides or bifurcates into 2 rivers. Now one is the river Hooghly, which just comes down there in West Bengal and drains water there in Bay of Bengal. But the major tributary of river Ganga, it enters in Bangladesh. And when the river Ganga enters in Bangladesh, now the name is changed, because in Bangladesh river Ganga is known as river Padma. Okay, now this is a very big river and it drains water in West Bengal. Well, so this is about the river Ganga. That is a very major river. But if you find river Ganga, it just passes through so many states of our India, means northern part of India. First of all, Uttarakhand you will see, then you can see Uttar Pradesh, and then Bihar and West Bengal. Now these are the 4 and 5 these states. Actually they are very important states, right? And they are having a very big population. Now why these states are having, especially Uttar Pradesh and Bihar and Bangladesh, they are having so big population? The reason is the fertile land. So usually it is not only Ganga. If you find this in the map, and you will find the river Ganga has several tributaries, and together with its tributaries, what happened? These rivers brings the fertile silt from the mountain, and it deposited there in the whole land of this Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and West Bengal. So in fact, if you study the geological history of the northern India, and you will find actually the soil which has been deposited here, it was by these rivers, because these rivers, after depositing the silt, they just change their course. So usually from very thousands and millions of years, right, since very ancient time, all these rivers, means Ganga river especially, and with all its tributaries, they have deposited large amount of silt over this whole North India, especially the states of Uttar Pradesh, then there is Bihar and West Bengal. And this is why this whole region has been developed into a very fertile land. And this is why the people, because from very ancient time, if you study that now at present the economy of the different countries, now it is depending upon the industries. But if you study the history, you will find that from very ancient time, the whole economy of the countries of all over the world, it depends upon the agriculture. Agriculture was the main sector, and still you will find in India, agriculture plays a very important role in just creating a backbone of our Indian economy. And in fact, even our country is an industrial country, but still 25% GDP comes from agriculture. What is the GDP? Gross domestic product, means the overall produce, right? Or you can say that 25% of the economy is backed up by the agriculture. Now, how this agriculture is possible? When the fertile land will be available. So you can find here, these fertile lands actually provides the fertile patch of land, and that's why you can find so big population here in this plain, that is Ganga plain. Now the fourth one is the Brahmaputra plain. So let's see here about the Brahmaputra plain. Now Brahmaputra plain, usually you will find this whole plain usually lies in Assam. And already about the Assam, I have given some explanation in the case study of chapter 5 about the flood in Assam. And you will see this land extends from Sadia. Sadia is the one place in the east of the Dhubri in the west. So these are the two places, Sadia and Dhubri in Assam. So between these two areas, Sadia and Dhubri, this whole plain region it lies. Now the length of this whole plain region is about nearly 640 kilometer. This is the length, and width is 100 kilometer. So this is not very big, but it just forms a very fertile patch of land. And the Brahmaputra river with its tributaries, it just usually brings all the silt and deposit here in the whole land. So this whole plain region usually is developed by, or it is all actually formed by the river Brahmaputra and its tributaries. And the major tributary, all of you know, there is a river Barak is the one major tributary of river Brahmaputra. Well, so this is about the northern plain. So I explained you about the four plains. We have seen the Thar desert, then the Indus plain, Punjab Haryana plain, Ganga plain and Brahmaputra plain. Now let's move to the peninsular plateau. So peninsular plateau. Now this peninsular plateau again is consists of the four parts. Now this is just in your class, according to the class 8th, actually this whole description have been created according to your level, right? So actually there is a very vast description, but whatever thing is given in your syllabus, according to your syllabus, I am just explaining it. Now let's see here the four parts of the peninsular plateau. So the first one is the Indian plateau. First one is the second is the Deccan plateau. Third one is the Western Ghat. And the fourth one is the Eastern Ghat. So let's see here about the peninsular plateau. So this Indian plateau, which is also known as the peninsular plateau. Why it is called peninsular plateau? Now if you find, already all of you know the map, but I am just drawing you just to explain you again. Well, now here this is Suleiman range and this is the Himalayas, right? This is Eastern Himalayas, Purvanchal Himalaya here. Well, now if you find here, this is the South India, this is the inland, and it is surrounded by three sides by water. This side is Bay of Bengal, and this is Arabian Sea. This is Bay of Bengal, and this is Indian Ocean. So the land which is surrounded by three water bodies, we call it peninsula, and this South India is surrounded by the three sides from water, and that's why this is known as peninsula. Now the major part of this peninsula usually is a plateau region, and this is why this whole region is also known as the peninsular plateau. I think all of you understood. So let's first of all see about the Indian plateau. The Indian plateau, now usually we call it in Hindi actually, especially the important description is in Hindi. There is the word, the real name of this plateau, we call it Madhya Bharat Pathar. Now this is the real name, now because it is an Indian word, Hindi word, but now in English actually it has been translated and we call it the Indian plateau. Now usually this plateau mostly lies in the part of the region of Madhya Pradesh, extended up to Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand. So here you can find there is a Chota Nagpur plateau, right, and there is a one more plateau, Malwa plateau there, right. And so usually together this plateau is known as the Indian plateau. Now next is the Deccan plateau. Now this Deccan plateau usually, now let me show you here the central part of India. This is the Indian plateau. Now in Maharashtra, and which extends up to Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Now this region is known as the Deccan Plateau. So usually the peninsular plateau broadly can be divided into two categories. The first one is the peninsular plateau. So this peninsular plateau can be divided into two divisions, that is Indian plateau and the Deccan plateau. Now this Deccan plateau, now if you find about the formation of these two plateaus, it is totally different. This Indian plateau, it is usually formed by the metamorphic rocks. So usually the structure of the rocks are totally different. But here the Deccan plateau usually is formed by the igneous rocks. What are the igneous rocks? The igneous rocks are the rocks which are solidified by the lava. When the lava solidified into and forms a rock, we call it igneous rocks. So we also call the igneous rocks as lava rocks. So this is the difference between Indian plateau and the Deccan plateau. And this is why they have been divided into two parts. And if you find again the Indian plateau again is classified into so many small plateaus, and Deccan plateau even this region is categorized into many small plateaus. Well, so now let's see here some important hills. Now usually what happens in the Rajasthan to the west of the Indian plateau, there lies Aravallis. Now Indian plateau is separated by Satpura range here. This Satpura range separates, Vindhya range and Satpura range separates Indian plateau from this Deccan plateau. Okay. So here you will find some important ranges like Aravalli range, Satpura range, Then there is a Vindhya range, Makala range. Then there is a Kamur hills, Kamur range. They are the hills. So these are the ranges which divides these two plateaus, Indian plateau and the Deccan plateau. Now when we move to the Deccan plateau, to the western side of the Deccan plateau, there lies Western Ghat. These Western Ghats are the hilly area. This is a range. And to the east, there lies the Eastern Ghat. So usually this Deccan plateau is bounded from the west by the Western Ghat and to the east by the Eastern Ghats. These are the two ranges. Now in the Deccan plateau, if you will find, usually there are some important ranges are found like Rajmahal Hills, Mahadev Hills. Then there is the Makal range in Madhya Pradesh, Ajanta Satmala Hills in Madhya Pradesh. So now this Deccan plateau usually is in triangular shape, right? And I told you, bounded by Western Ghat to the west and Eastern Ghat to the east. Now let's move to the third part, that is the Western Ghat. So this Western Ghats usually rise abruptly, right, from the coastal plain. So it just divides separates coastal plain from the plateau region. So it just forms a divide. Now here in this Western Ghat, there is these Western Ghat usually is also known as the Sahyadris. There is a name actually. Now why it is called Sahyadri? Because there are some ranges, Sahyadri Hills, Nilgiri Hills. Now these hills usually looks blue in color. From very far they looks blue in color, and the word Sahyadri, that is the local name which means blue, and this is why these Western Ghats are also known as Sahyadris. Well, or the Nilgiris. Nilgiri, all of you know, that is the blue in color Nil, right? Well, there are some more hills are found here, some important ranges like Annamalai Hills, Cardamom Hills, Palni Hills. So these are some important ranges, right? Sahyadris, then Nilgiris, Annamalai Hills, Cardamom Hills and Palni Hills. These are important hills found here in the Western Ghats. Now let's move to the Eastern Ghat. Now here the Eastern Ghat, you can check your book also. If it is not visible here, this figure, you can check your book, I told you, right? And the map is given there, figure 8.5, and there everything is drawn there, right? So here you will see the Eastern Ghat. This Eastern Ghat stretches from the Mahanadi, right, up to the Nilgiris in the south, right? And here you will find this Eastern Ghats actually are not a continuous ranges. They are not a continuous chains of hills, right? Not mountains actually. In your book it is given mountains, but it is not mountains. They are the hills. Now what is the difference between mountain and the hills? Mountains are very, very high ranges, usually more than 4,000, 3,000 we call mountain, but less than 3,000, 2,000 they are called hills, right? So usually these are the hills, not the mountains first of all. And these hilly ranges, they are not continuous. You can find here one, this is the first and this is another one. So they are in the parts. Well, now here this Eastern Ghat usually you can find it is found between the rivers like Godavari and Krishna river, right? And then Kaveri and Krishna river, right? So this is about the Peninsular Plateau. What we have seen today, we have seen about the East Peninsular Plateau. They are having 4 parts: an Indian Plateau, the Deccan Plateau. I told you these are the 2 important plateaus, and the Western Ghat, this Deccan Plateau, is bounded by the Western Ghat from the west and Eastern Ghats from the east. So this is for today only. Now next session we will see about the coastal regions, and we will see about the coastal plains, and then we will see about the islands, And another thing, the important drainage, the important rivers of the North India and South India, and we're going to see about the comparison between these two rivers, northern rivers of the north and rivers of the south. So for today, it is bye bye.